Hello everyone, welcome back to FFGLive. Today we are here to play some of the Genesys RPG. So my name's Evan and I'm joined by all of you fine people. Why don't you introduce yourselves for the internet?
Hi, my name's Sam Gregor Stewart. I am the manager of the RPG department.
And our game master today.
And the game master.
I'm Alexis Dykema. I am an RPG developer.
And I'm Max Brook. I'm a miniatures game developer most of the time, but I have joined in for today, coming back to my RPG roots.
See Moonlight in RPG. Awesome. So we are playing some Genesys, which, if you don't know, uses the narrative dice system, very similar to Star Wars role-playing game as well. So you'll be seeing some of that. And we have a campaign that Sam has put together for us. This is actually just the first part. We're going to be playing over the next 4 months, just about one session every month. So you'll be able to see this campaign continue and see our characters kind of grow and develop. And it should be pretty sweet. Do you want to say anything before we start? Otherwise, we can introduce our characters.
Well, why don't we introduce our characters as we play through, but otherwise, the game is set in our Terrinoth setting.
Yeah.
So Descent, Rune Wars, Runebound, any rune-related game I think we make. And yeah, well, I think we can take it from there.
All right. Well then,
All right.
Kick off.
All right. So, the three of you awaken after a long night's sleep in the midst of a dewy meadow. Your camp sits on the edge of a rushing stream, and the chill water helps refresh you for the day ahead. The three of you have banded together to seek out the Rune of Awakening for Baroness Adeline of Fothrin, the northernmost barony of Terrinoth. The legendary runebound shard is said to be able to empower a construct stronger than the mightiest rune golems and is vital to the defense of Fothrin, and all of Terrinoth as well. You set out from the free city of Frostgate 3 days ago and have been traveling northwest ever since. Your destination is the Keen-Eyed Tower near the Woods of Woe. There dwells Corinth the Eager, learned wizard and famed researcher of the runebound shards, and you hope that he'll be able to point you in the direction of this legendary rune. So now go ahead and introduce yourselves as you get up from your bedrolls and greet the day.
Sure. So my character is Nim. I am an elf warrior. So I lived in the Latari Forest, far to the south of here, originally. And I was I left the Latari Forest. I was a soldier in the army. I was an officer there, but I was kind of haunted by this thought that the elves were missing something in their quest for redemption, to achieve back to the Empyrean realm. That they came from. So I've kind of gone out into the world just to discover knowledge and look for what it might be that can help us get back there.
Maybe it's the Rune of Awakening.
It could be, but we're supposed to give it to someone, right?
Well.
So.
I am Akash of Taruk Asaran.
Mm-hmm.
I am from the deserts across the sea. I am a Sunderland's orc, and I am traveling looking for knowledge and an explanation for why can I do so many things that my fellow Sunderland's orcs can't. And I will explain that later through play.
Excellent.
And as these two rise, there's a third figure already awake, having taken the last watch, because of course we posted a watch, because, we're not maniacs.
You're not amateurs.
We've been doing this.
So Jornsend of Northgate rises up from where he is near the fire. He's a tallish man with ashy blonde hair and a beard. He stirs the fire, and he says, "Good to have you two up. The river water's refreshing. It'll wake you right up."
The river water is always refreshing.
If you say so.
All right. So you're able to make breakfast, break camp, as you have for the last 3 days, and head out. You're following a path, technically a road, although in this part of the barony, You have not seen another person in 2 days, and the road reflects that abandoned nature. But you pack up and you start heading, continue to head northwest. You're traveling through a mix of trees, from lone oaks and maples to stands of spruce and pine. You go through stretches of prairie and meadows. In fact, for the four of us, it looks a lot like maybe half an hour outside of the Twin Cities.
Sure.
You can Google Earth that.
Yeah. So you travel along this path, and why doesn't one of you make a knowledge geography check for me?
Well, I don't know anything about that.
I'm actually trained in that.
Oh,
Excellent.
I know nothing of this land.
Jørgensen is from this land, so I'll make that check. All right, so we've got.
We should clear out.
yeah.
Yeah, let's clear out the dice tray, perhaps.
While he's doing that, how is the soil quality?
It's a little bit acidic up here. There is more rock in the soil than you're used to further south. In fact, sometimes it can be a little bit sandy.
Perfect. Akash takes out a flask as you're doing that and fills it with earth.
Okay.
What is my difficulty?
The difficulty is going to be easy. You are on a path, after all.
I like the sound of that. All right, so to take people through how we're doing this, do we want to do that?
Please.
Sure.
All right, so I've got an intellect of 3, and I've got a geography knowledge of 1. So I take the higher of those numbers, 3. I replace one of them with the lower of the numbers, 1. So I've got 2 ability dice, 1 proficiency die, and then 1 difficulty die.
And you're going to be looking for those sunbursts of success symbols.
Yes. And I'd like to just spice up this check a little. I'd like to make an argument that since I am a local, I should get a boost die.
I think that's reasonable.
But since the last time I was here, I was undertaking the Trials of Frostgate, and I was drunk, as is custom.
As
I should get a
custom.
setback
Yes. All right. I like that, and I agree with both of those.
die. Ooh.
Ooh. That was
Well,
a triumph.
Clearly your hazy memory is not that hazy. And so that is 3 successes, because the triumph is also a success, and 2 advantage and a triumph. So, first, you know where you are and you know where you're headed. You are making good time. The advantage is that you are making good time. You expect you will actually reach the tower by mid-afternoon. It'll be before nightfall that you get there.
Nice.
The triumph is that you've actually met Corinth the Eager before.
That's the wizard, right?
Yes. You were drunk at the time as you undertook one of the trials, but you ran into him in the woods, and since it's a triumph and not a despair, I'm going to say you shared some of your wineskin with him as he was out gathering alchemical substances for his experiments and recording notes on local plant life. So you think he might remember you? I mean, it was certainly memorable for you both.
Comrades, my dear friend Corinth awaits us. We're making excellent time.
All right. So
you've met him before?
Yes. I encountered him as he was seeking certain alchemical items in these woods.
I know a bit about alchemy.
Then I'm sure you two will get along swimmingly.
I hope so.
Doesn't he have the thing that we need to recover?
Well,
I thought he had information about the thing we wanted.
Oh, that could be I wasn't paying that much attention.
Perhaps. You seem to be that type.
the Baroness's instructions were a bit vague on the details.
As human baronesses are wont to do.
all right. So the rest of the afternoon passes swiftly. Although you're on foot, you're all seasoned travelers and make good time. And You're just starting to make out the dark edges of the Woods of Woe to the east as you...
Good
I was
one.
waiting.
Get out.
Vanished from party.
Yeah. The two of you...
We can do this.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You can tank and heal, right?
Yes.
So, as you crest a hill, you look out over another gently sloping prairie meadow and see the keen-eyed tower at the bottom of the rise. It's a 4-story, sharp-edged construction with slit windows and a unlit signal bonfire stacked up at the top. Probably built by the barons in better days, when this area was more settled. Even as you take in this scene, you hear a hollow boom from inside the tower, and purple smoke billows from some of the windows. Suddenly, the door at the base of the tower bursts open, and a horde of diminutive figures pile out, carrying tables, boxes, chickens. It appears to be a bunch of kobolds.
Oh no.
All right. So,
What do I know about kobolds?
well, why don't you give me a knowledge adventuring check?
Okay.
So I'm a little rusty. Is there assistance in this game?
There is assistance.
Can I?
Do you have knowledge adventuring?
No. Never mind.
Do you have intellect?
Just like in general, I am pretty smart.
I could assist.
Yeah, you can help then.
I have intellect 3, so you could use my intellect.
Okay.
I only have intellect 2.
All right. So I can use your intellect.
So nobody has any ranks in the skill used by adventurers when they are adventuring.
I do, but I didn't want to steal his thunder.
Oh, that's right. Well, go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and offer him your rank instead of your intellect?
Better?
So it's
Yeah,
one
let's do
yellow.
that. Let's do that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this will be easy,
Okay.
Okay, probably is better.
and I will also give you a boost die because every adventurer worth their salt knows about kobolds.
I know.
Aha!
Across the sea.
Those are left over. 2 successes, 1 threat.
All right. So every adventurer worth their salt knows about kobolds, and that includes you.
Yeah.
Kobolds were created creatures by a wizard.
Not this wizard.
Not this wizard.
Okay.
Long ago, a wizard decided that he wanted a subservient minion. He would make them small so that there could be a lot of them around without getting in the way. He would make them reproduce quickly, so he would always have a bunch of them. Unfortunately, and he would not make them too smart because they were a minion just to do menial tasks. Unfortunately, what he forgot to add to this magical creature was obedience. And after the horde of kobolds killed the wizard, destroyed his tower, and expanded out in the surrounding lands, they have been a minor but persistent menace for the realms of Terrinoth ever since. Occasionally, a kobold that actually understands which end of the pointy stick to stab somebody with will take over a group and lead them to become like a threat worth mustering out the town guard for. But normally they're just something that young dwarves and young Terrinoth adventurers are sent to clean out from basements, ravines, caves, and other such things.
How many kobolds are we looking at here?
You aren't sure, but it looks like there may be maybe 10 or so piling around, and you do have that threat right there.
Yeah.
As you're staring at them, they look up at you, give out shrill, angry war cries, throw down their chickens and tables, and start running at you. Well, some of them throw down the tables. One of them actually is charging at you with the chicken.
Yeah. Like holding it above his head.
Yes.
These kobolds are as foolish as they appear.
How far away are they?
They are at medium range, and I'm going to need you all to roll initiative.
They must be hoping that their foul attack will
Yeah.
cause us to chicken out.
Remind me how to do this thing.
It's based off of a vigilance, right?
In this case, yes. You were not expecting a horde of kobolds to come boiling out of this tower at you, and it would be
Nobody
vigilance for them.
expects the horde of kobolds.
So I will need you to make a vigilance check with no difficulty.
Well, that just disappeared. 3 successes, 1 advantage.
All right.
God.
1 success, 1 advantage, and the success is a triumph.
Go ahead and take a free maneuver before combat begins. You can draw a weapon or
I will,
prepare yourself for battle.
Yeah, I will draw my longbow.
Success and 2 advantage.
All right. The kobolds themselves are. And. All right.
Darn. I'm not good at this thing.
So, one of you is going to get to act before the kobolds go.
Got my bow out.
They are at medium range.
Go for it.
Could
you,
I-
You, oh,
You want to do that?
you got a thing?
I kind of want to summon some friends.
We do not need friends to take
I
down
don't-
10 kobolds.
That's what the first wizard who created these was saying.
Can I summon some friends? Is
No,
that
no. In the winter, friends will freeze.
Okay, so
for it.
so I am summoning a swarm. Well, attempting to summon a swarm of scorpions.
Scorpions.
Yeah, and so the total challenge with all of my stuff. So a cool way to do magic is to make some canned spells ahead of time, so you don't have to like figure all the stuff out. It's difficulty 4 base.
Do you want to put your can spell in the dice tray and show people?
Oh, these are like a lot of canned spells. Look at all these things that I've made.
Do you have an implement that would decrease the difficulty?
No, however, I have component casting, which allows me to add a boost die if I have a relevant component, and I just so happen to have some sand. I have a lot of sand, actually. Don't worry about it.
We have locally sourced sand.
I have locally sourced sand and sand from across the way.
Which sand are you using?
Sand from across the way.
Okay.
I have 8 flasks of sand.
All right. So you can
I bought them.
Wearing
So
like
it's
a bandolier.
base difficulty 4, and then I get 4 of these because I have 4 cunning and 4 in primal. And then I get a boost die. And then I could do another. No, I'm not going to do another one.
Was it your signature spell?
No, this is not my signature spell.
Do you want to spend a story point?
What does that do again?
That upgrades, which in this case would allow you to add an ability die.
Yeah, let's do that. Here you
right.
go. You can have the thing.
Love it.
Neat. Look at all these dice, and now I'm going to roll them.
Lots of dice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like that
Yeah,
charm.
I nailed it. Nailed it. It's fine.
It's like advantage and threat is a wash.
It does.
Yes. So that. Yeah. So I have 3 successes, one of which is a triumph and an advantage. Cool. So what happens is.
4 successes.
Oh.
Does that cancels that?
Yeah. That cancels that.
Yep.
But then.
Right. So
but-
there's a success left over.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep,
I was
there we
looking
go.
at the wrong thing. Okay, cool. So what happens is I summon a swarm of scorpions on my space. They are friendly to me, and they obey simple commands. I can spend a maneuver to direct the creature to do a thing.
All right.
They are silhouette 3. I know 2, I think.
Because it's a swarm.
Because it is a swarm of scorpions. They are silhouette 2.
Okay.
And I have their statistics.
And because you use the Sunderland sand, the scorpions that climb out of the ground are the glossy black scorpions of the desert. And they're big scorpions, like, each one's about the size of your hand.
Yeah, they are. I do suffer 2 strain, however, because
You
casting
cast a spell.
spells hurts you.
All right. Do you want to do anything else with your turn?
Did that triumph get resolved?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with my triumph.
Let's see.
What do
How
I
many
say?
how many scorpion minions do you summon, or how big is the swarm normally?
Silhouette 2.
Okay. How many wounds does it have?
36.
Okay. Is there anything you want to do with the triumph, or would you like me to
I would
suggest?
love a suggestion.
Why don't we make the scorpion swarm bigger?
Okay. I like
More
that.
scorpion.
We will.
Oh, they've been breeding.
We'll go ahead and upgrade their. Why don't you increase their wounds to 40 and increase their ranks in, I assume it's brawl, by 1
Yeah.
to reflect the number of scorpions. So, a giant horde of glossy black scorpions boils out of the ground like, sort of like in those mummy movies with Brendan Fraser, and starts to, mill around you in a creepy circle.
Important clarifying question. They're friendly to you.
They are. They won't hurt you.
Okay.
They're friendly. They're friendly to my friendlies. They won't. It's fine. It's good.
I mean, but if you wanted to step about 2 steps to the side,
Oh, that happened.
nobody would blame you.
I have a maneuver. Can I move backwards away from the kobolds?
Sure, or you
Okay.
could send the scorpions forward if you
Oh
want.
yeah, I can do that. Go, my minions.
The scorpions rush forward in a almost in a wave. Like in the front, there are at least 3 or 4 scorpions high, which actually puts them at eye level with the kobolds.
That one's my favorite.
All right, so the scorpions surge forward. The kobolds will be going next. Well, some of them. Well, one group of kobolds the ones in the lead were already charging forward, and they charge right into your scorpions. Nobody accused them of being smart. So they will attack your scorpions.
Don't you touch them.
So, let's see. Because there are so many of them, they're actually not terrible at this. And I am actually going to give them a boost die on this because there are so many scorpions to fight.
Makes sense.
So,
It's a
here we go.
scorpion-rich environment.
Yes.
That was. Ooh.
So,
They did the
they
thing.
strike and strike swiftly, piling into the scorpions with shrill cries, throwing the chicken to distract scorpions, crushing one with chair legs. They do 7 damage.
Does it have the blast or burn quality?
It does not.
I have it, and then I apply a soak.
Yes, you
Do we round down in this one?
You round up.
Okay, so it go to 4 and then it go to 3? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, 3 or 4 scorpions are crushed.
I am displeased.
The scorpions will take a setback die when they inevitably devour these kobolds in the most horrific manner imaginable.
Well, they're
Yeah.
devouring the chicken first. That's why
Yeah,
the setback
exactly.
died.
No, the
Sir.
chicken is an ally.
Oh no, this chicken, this
It's
chicken
an
is
evil
dinner.
chicken. Got it.
All right.
Cool.
So we have another PC. So now in the middle of between you and the tower is one group of kobolds and scorpions. It's sort of a scorpion kobold combination mix.
No one's walking into
I
that.
would be careful around the scorpions when they're feasting.
So I'm just gonna turn and look at Nim and just give him like a long look and just look back, look at Nim, look back.
You can get around the scorpions if you want.
What are the other kobolds doing?
They are still around the tower.
They're on the other side of the pile.
Yep. So you could get around them without too much trouble. It looks like at least one of them is trying to light some of the furniture on fire next to the door of the tower.
How
Sure.
rude.
You just want to take a
I
shot?
can take that guy out.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got my longbow out already.
All right.
So I will aim.
Yes.
I believe I don't need to load arrows in this game,
No, you do not. This is
so,
part of your
thankfully.
firing of the longbow.
thankfully. All right. So let's see. What talents do I want to use, if any? Let's just do a normal shot. All right. So we're at long or medium?
Medium range.
Medium. All right. We're at medium. I've got range, agility of 3 and ranged of 3.
All right.
Go get them.
Looks good.
I'll take a maneuver to aim because
Sure.
I have a maneuver to spare. And yeah, let's
That's all. That's all it is.
try to mess up a kobold. Yeah, I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
So 2 success, 1 advantage. I'm
One
saying?
advantage.
Yep.
All right. Well, with my 1 advantage, I will toss a boost die to the next person on our side to act.
All right.
As I maybe distract this kobold and prevent it from keep a lot of them keep their heads down with fire. And then I will hit it for my longbow's damage 8, so 10 damage.
All right.
Ow.
The arrow actually skewers 2 of the kobolds, because they are small and it's a large bow. So you actually hit two of them in perfect succession, panicking the one with the torch, who drops it on himself and starts his raggedy loincloth on fire. So the kobolds are greatly distracted and disheartened by this
These
attack.
poor kobolds, man.
And they weren't distracted by the scorpions.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I necessarily even need to do.
Well,
too
there are
much of
still
anything.
kobolds near the tower. You could.
I could maneuver over there.
You absolutely could.
All right, let's run over to them, and
All right.
I'll try and
Finish
just,
them off.
just cleave the rest in half with my huge greatsword.
So it'll take 2 maneuvers to get there. So
Okay.
you'll need to suffer 2 strain.
All right.
If you want to still cleave once
It's
you
fine.
get
It's
there.
fine. Yes.
All right.
All right.
The last 2 kobolds finish putting out their comrades' burning loincloth and see you barreling down at them.
Yes. Here I am. I swing my sword, and looks like that works out all right.
Oh yeah, you sorted them a question.
So, all right. So 3 successes, 1 advantage. My damage is +4, and that is where we're at.
What's your brawn?
All right.
4.
So 8 plus 3 successes, so 11.
Okay.
All right. The last 2 kobolds fall into your swing, and the advantage is that you, as you finish killing them and lean back on your sword and feeling reasonably satisfied. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
proud, but
Yeah. I mean, they're kobolds.
Listen, we took out the trash. You know,
happen to look
that's
up
an achievement.
and see more kobolds perched on the windowsill right above you. Which
Uh-oh.
means they won't get a boost die when they suddenly leap down upon you. Screaming in triumph with their daggers held in both hands, mostly pointed down. One of them is pointing the dagger up towards its own face with both hands, but that's fine.
That's kobolds for you.
They're going to make. What is your vigilance
I have 2 ranks in vigilance.
and your willpower?
2.
All right. So this is what they will be rolling against when they make their coordination check. And there are 4 of them.
4 of them.
Yes.
They're all jumping on me.
They sure are.
Man.
And I'm gonna go. So these kobolds actually have coordination as a skill for those of you following along at home.
Okay. They had to be pretty coordinated to be like perching up there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is actually a fairly cunning plan.
Yeah. And a successfully cunning plan. So they, in fact, even the one holding his dagger in the wrong direction manages to not poke his own eye out, and they land on top of you. So you are knocked prone, and the 2 advantage means you're also going to take 4 more strain.
Okay.
As you are piled under by tiny leathery humanoids. You wear a sort of a breastplate, right? Plate
Yeah,
armor.
yes.
Yeah. They immediately start jumping up and down on your breastplate in triumph, and one of them, the one holding his knife in the wrong way, is trying to hit you with the pommel of his knife on your head.
Yeah. Naturally.
Yep. So that's the end of the round, and at
Okay.
the top of the round we have a PC. Who wants to go?
Well, can I,
Can make you feel better.
I mean, I feel fine.
Okay.
Can I try to, like, clear these guys off me? These kobolds?
Absolutely. I mean, the only thing affected right now is your pride.
Yes, for sure.
But he's an elf, so that's very important.
Yeah.
Yes, that is extremely important. All right, so I'm going to just try and, like, grab the one attacking my head and fling him into the other ones.
Excellent. Why don't we make that a brawl check?
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you a boost die. Normally you'd have a setback die for fighting face down, and you'll still have it here, but I'm also going to give you a boost die because you are much bigger than them, and this would be the right move.
This is
Actually,
true.
go ahead and make it 2 boost dice.
Okay. Difficulty 2, right?
Yeah.
All right. Ah. All right, let's see here. That cancels with that. Those cancel out. Boom. All right, 2 success, 2 advantage.
All right. So how much damage do you do with your brawl attack? Just
Let's see. So I have a brawn of 4.
yes.
And 1 rank in brawl.
so 4. So you'll do 6 damage.
Yes.
Which is actually enough to finish off a kobold. So I think what happens is, and with 2 advantage, so you grab the one trying to punch you, trying to club you with his knife pommel, pick him up, and leap to your feet with elven and human quickness, and then slam the kobold onto another kobold with a sickening squishy thud.
Can we instead say that I like suplexed him?
Oh,
like
sure,
backwards?
absolutely. And then use the momentum to get to your
to like
feet once
continue the
again
flip
with the
and
2
like,
advantage.
yeah.
So that kobold is has been bent backwards in half, and you spring to your feet, kicking your sword back into your hand.
Perfect.
With the final flourish. All right, and now some of the kobolds will get to go, and I think the ones fighting the scorpion will try one more time to.
Do something.
Yes.
How many are fighting the scorpions?
Oh, there's 5 of them.
Okay, great.
Scorpions are doing work.
Nope.
Come on, scorpions.
Are they within short range of me now?
They
move
are.
forward? Okay, cool.
But I'm going to give them a setback die as well now, in addition to the boost die, because but
They're
they'll also aim.
everywhere.
Yeah, and they're starting to get a little worried about scorpions. All right, they will fail, in fact. Complete wash. So swinging out, they can't seem to really figure out how to fight these scorpions effectively.
Don't worry, I struggled my first time too.
There's players can go next.
Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Me? Okay. So I will spend a maneuver to tell my scorpions to attack. So I might need a little help. So I have +2 brawl and then 1 brawn. So is that just a 1 and a for attacking? A 1.
So if you have 1 brawn and 2
Yes.
in brawl, then it's 1 green, 1 yellow.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. And yeah, what's the difficulty for them to?
The difficulty would be average.
Okay. Can they have a boost die because they're everywhere?
You can. They could aim for another boost die. In this case, probably you direct their swarm a little more because they get an action and a maneuver.
Oh, okay, cool.
Do you want to spend a story point to?
Not for this. For
You're
the next thing I'm doing. 'Cause
Okay.
This is just a maneuver. Okay, so they're going to attack. Go, my beauties.
Are we just looking on in horror?
That was that.
Yeah, just
I
like
failed.
aghast.
I don't think you.
I didn't get a success.
These
There's-
cancel,
And then
and
this.
then those all remain. Those are 2 successes, 2 advantage.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm pretty sure we're just looking.
They
at horror.
deal 1 damage.
Okay.
And they have Pierce 3. They can spend those 2. Sorry.
They
what?
do 3 damage, if I'm not mistaken, don't they? Because of the
Says-
successes as well.
Oh, yeah. So 3 damage, and then they can spend this to advantage to inflict 3 strain. And then additionally, you need to make a hard resilience check.
Let me tell you what kobolds are just great at.
So
Not
resilient.
this. All right. Well, they're not even trained in it, so let's assume they fail.
Okay, they suffer 4 additional wounds, and they have to make the check again on their next turn. Oh no, they didn't get a despair. Never mind.
They
Just
did
4.
do they get anything for 4 threat?
It just says a despair. If the check generates despair.
Fair enough. Let's
4 wounds.
let's actually just increase that to 6 wounds because with all that threat. So you did 3 damage. That's 1 kobold who gets eaten alive by the scorpions and devoured by the pincers. 3 strain, which is another kobold going down to the poison, and then another 6 wounds, which is 2 more kobolds going down to poison.
So there's exactly 1 left.
There is exactly 1 left.
Awesome! I'm going to use my signature spell now, which is very unnecessary. It's called Tendrils of Nature. Okay, so the difficulty is 3. However, I am going to suffer an extra strain to use innate focus, which is a talent that I have, to make the difficulty 2.
All right.
And I am using some sand again for a boost, if that is acceptable.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I'd say so. What's when you say tendrils of nature?
I'm summoning earth from the ground that look like tentacles.
Absolutely. Then sand is a perfect component for that.
I am an earthbender. This is what I am. Okay, great.
And
You appear to be a scorpion bender.
yes.
And then I'm also going to spend a story point to add an automatic 2 advantage to this check, because I
Alright.
have brilliant casting as well.
Brilliant.
Can you see where I invested my XP?
So we've got that in there as well.
Yes. From
Did
the
I
extra 2
do
advantage.
those? Oh, yes. Okay, well,
So that just cancels out the threat.
I got 4 successes and 4 advantage. Okay, so what happens, even though this is unnecessary, I do 14 damage.
Yep.
I didn't get a triumph. They're immediately knocked down and disoriented.
Okay.
And I don't know what to use the other 2 advantage for.
In addition to being
You
dead.
could recover some of
Why when they're
You
dead?
could recover some of your previous strain because
Oh, yeah.
since you were using innate focus, I believe you suffer.
I suffer 1 additional strain.
Yeah, you suffer 3 strain. So you'll recover 2, but then suffer 3.
Okay, cool. I like that. I forgot I did
All right. So the last kobold has gotten up on top of his dead buddies and is fighting off the scorpions when columns of sand and earth erupt out of the ground, wrap around him, and drag him screaming into the embrace of the dirt below him. One hand still sticking out, struggles weakly before a scorpion latches onto it and starts to eat it.
Quiet now. And then the scorpions, they burrow back into the ground because they're unsummoned now.
All right, leaving only the partially flesh-stripped kobold hand and little bloody kobold bodies
I assume it's
and
just
chicken
bones.
beaks and feathers. Yeah.
I took care of these ones. Okay, that's your turn.
Are there any kobolds left?
There are the
Yeah, there's
the
like 2
kobolds
or
you're
so.
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since I don't want to hit you with my ranged attack, I guess I will double maneuver up to you. Take 2 strain. Quick draw. I'll drop my bow and quick draw my sword.
All right.
And then I will do a little of the old stabbity stab.
All right.
I'm not as good at this, but I do have finesse, which allows me to use agility for my
Excellent.
melee light weapons. And no other bonuses, so there we go.
Yeah.
Stab a kobold.
Well, I miss, but I am going to get a bunch of advantage. So with that 2 advantage, let's see, could I drive the kobolds off of him enough to give him some, like room to maneuver?
Absolutely. So the kobolds back away, fear in their eyes. They've moved away from the tower, and now basically they're in between the 3 of you.
Alright.
So they haven't gone yet. So
As we go into that, I have a question in the chat. What book is Innate Focus from? You mentioned that you had that.
We could show it. It is from the new player guide.
Yeah, the expanded player guide. Right?
Yeah. Dice tray.
there we go.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm using that's in this book. It really expands out the magic stuff, and it's super fun.
Did you write down what page Innate focuses on?
Yeah.
Do you want to show?
That's. Oh, maybe I
Sam?
did. Maybe
Sure.
I
What do you
didn't
think?
write it down.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Try like 120-ish, somewhere in there, maybe. Maybe I don't know what page it's on.
Certainly in the back.
Oh, it should be.
Well, we can keep looking for it as
Yeah,
the kobolds.
here I can look
All
for it
right.
because
So
you guys are doing
the
some
last
stuff.
2 kobolds, given what's happened, they're going to start to run. They will double maneuver away from both of you, so basically perpendicular from the tower and away. At least one player is going to get a chance to act before at the start of the next round, before they go again. Does anyone want to do anything as they run away?
Are any of the kobolds carrying anything?
Yes. They're as opportunistic as they are everything else bad about them. One of them scoops up a small sack as they run, and the other one grabs a chair leg.
Okay, well,
Shoot them!
I will plant my sword in the ground, pick up my bow.
All right. So maneuver.
Yes, and then I will. So I'm not just casually dropping. Actually, I'll maneuver to sheath my sword and then quick draw my bow. There we go.
Yes.
Let's see. There's 3 ranged.
Yep, it's medium
2.
range.
I will take 2 strain to aim.
All right. Drawing a bead on the one with the chair leg because that's obviously.
Yeah, the chair leg is definitely what we want. No, the one with the sack.
Okay.
And I'll say something about winds from the north slightly.
And they call elves pretentious.
Oh yes.
So
Barely,
I
yeah.
I actually would like to show off a little extra with that triumph. I'd like to just hit the sack and knock it out of its hand, hitting it to the ground.
You do. The sack is. Heck, we'll say with a triumph. Yeah, the arrow catches the sack, rips it out of the kobold's hands, and pins it to a the trunk of a small bush nearby. The kobold screeches in rage and fear, mostly fear, and proceeds to flee with its fellow into the night. No doubt to go menace some poor farmer.
Yeah, well, that won't come back to bite us.
As you take the shot, there's another boom from inside the tower, and suddenly from out of one of the other windows, bits of burning kobold spew, and a few moments later, you hear some stomps and thuds as inside the tower, as a disheveled-looking man, late middle age, brown beard going to white, wearing wizard's robes that are now scorched, mussed up, and covered with splatters of kobold blood, stomps into view, leaning on his staff with a just angry, grumpy look on his face, and he stops seeing you. Oh! Hello there.
Lizard mucus will get that out.
Is this Crompa eager?
Corinth, old friend.
I'll
I'll pick up his now 3-legged chair and hand it to him, and I'll say,
He takes the chair and looks at it. Sighs. Drunk bear man.
Jornsend!
Jernsen, that's right.
Yes.
What are all of you doing here?
Well, I can tell you, we're not here just to run a kobold removal service.
Although, he looks at the bodies. Looks like you've done a fairly decent job at that.
Most of them are in the dirt.
Lizard guts, you said.
No, lizard mucus. Lizard guts will just make it worse.
We don't have much in the way of lizards up here, unfortunately.
Allow me to introduce my traveling companions.
Please.
Nim and Akash.
Greetings.
Hello.
Akash is also a practitioner of arts beyond my ken.
Yes, I
You
can
don't
summon
say.
scorpions.
Is that a Sunderland accent I detect?
Yes. This is exactly what it sounds like in the desert of Al-Qaim.
He nods. He nods with some respect. Welcome. Welcome, Master Sunderlander, Master Elf. From Latari, yes?
Indeed.
Well, it's a pleasure to have all of you here, and again, thank you for dealing with this.
It didn't
This
take long,
unpleasantry?
it's alright.
Yes, this unpleasantry.
Yes.
I'm just gonna shoot a nervous look over at the sand where the scorpions disappeared.
It's okay, they're gone for now.
Why are we traveling with her?
Have you?
I'm so afraid to leave.
I don't suppose any of you saw a bag one of them was carrying as he starts to paw through the wreckage, picks up a trunk size, brushes it off.
I'll walk over to the tree and I'll say, this bag?
That's it exactly!
I'll toss it over to him.
Catches it, opens it up. Thank Kellis, it's still here. You hear when you tossed it, you heard a rattling sound like stones.
You got some rocks?
No, far more precious than rocks in here. And he looks at you for a moment with a slightly wary gaze all of a sudden, but then sort of shrugs to himself, and he pulls out a stone about this large. On it is carved a design that glows, in this case with a faint bluish glow. These are runes, rune-bound shards. I have little blighters broke past my wards after burning them out with their numbers and stole from my vault.
I have something like that. She kind of undoes the top and pulls out a necklace. That I think it's red and green, and it also has a rune on it. This is a Wanderer Stone.
Oh my! Yeah.
Passed down for generations.
May I?
You could just summon scorpions on him. It's fine.
I'm gonna turn to you, Nim, and I'm gonna say, were we supposed to bring a shiny rock on the quest?
I don't have any shiny rocks either.
How about you just look with your eyes and not your hands?
He looks a little disappointed when you say that, and maybe a little hurt. But he nods. Oh, very well. It's a very impressive shard. I've only seen one rune like it. It was owned by a dwarf in Thelgrim.
I don't know any others.
It is
well,
not
enough banter over runes. We're here looking for information on one such rune, the Rune of Awakening. We were told you had it or had information about it or something.
It's kind of vague. This one doesn't listen.
The information was vague. I was listening fine.
We were hired by Baroness...
Adeline.
Thorthrin? No. Is that where she lives?
Thorthrin is the barony that Adeline is from.
We're not good with
Adelaide.
names. We're good with killing things.
Technically, you're in the barony of Thorthrin, although once beyond the villages and towns that really swear fealty to the Baroness, it's...
Fancy human with nice dress. They come to you for information.
The Baroness sent you. Well, I suppose you better come in then.
Is it safe? Smoke.
I'm pretty sure I've burned out the last of them.
Hopefully the smoke will keep out the scorpions.
Okay, they don't exist anymore. They're in the not here place.
I'll help him pick up his various belongings.
No,
Again,
I help too.
furtively making my way around the blood-soaked patch of ground littered with bones.
I'll kind of wander
That
around
scares
to
you.
look like I'm helping, but I'm not actually doing anything because that's beneath my dignity.
Of course.
I lean over to pick something up while you're there, and I'm just like, you're not gonna like it when I turn into one, are you?
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear anything and keep living my life.
All right. You gather up his stuff. For the most part, it's intact, but he grumbles again at seeing the chair and shrugs. Leads you into the watchtower. The ground floor is mostly a atrium. None of these rooms are very big. It's not a huge tower. So the ground level is just a single room that looks mostly a storeroom. It's been plundered heavily by the kobolds, and he putters around for a few moments before sort of just giving up in disgust, setting his stuff down, shutting the door, and doing his best to latch it.
Can I do something narratively with?
Sure.
I'm really good at primal stuff. Can I summon out like a rock leg for his chair. I don't know. I could do a check for it, but I just kind of want to fix his chair for him.
Yeah, go ahead and give me. I think I will have you make a check for it because you are showing off a little bit.
What? I want to show him no hard
but it will be
feelings.
easy.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, and
No hard feelings, buddy. It's all right. I'm
Don't
not
make
going
a
to use
bad
any of
leg.
my sand for this one. I hope I don't make a bad leg.
well, I mean, do you have rocks nearby?
Oh, yeah, I do. I guess I do have rocks.
Yeah, you can just use a rock.
Okay, I did it. I did it good.
Oh yeah, you rock.
Oh yes.
I make the most intricate chair leg,
Sculpted out of stone.
sculpted out of stone.
And with the advantage you get, so you will suffer 2 more strain from
Oh,
there.
yeah.
But with the advantage you get, it merges seamlessly into the rest of the chair, and somehow you think maybe the rock is hollow, the leg is hollow. It actually doesn't weigh much more than the other legs, and he nods. Impressive, impressive work, Thunder.
Yes, well, we make do with what we have.
Indeed, he sets it down. Oh, excellent, excellent. He picks it back up. He come upstairs. Takes you up to clearly our living quarters and sets the chair down next to a desk. It's mostly one large room with a hearth, a bed, and so forth. There's a vault, a small stone room in one corner. There are maybe half a dozen scorched kobold bodies piled in front of the open vault door.
Phew.
Yes, it smells terrible. But he sets the chair leg down, and so you said you were looking for the Rune of Awakening.
That is the one.
Yep.
I was unclear whether it was the Rune of Awakening or the Rune of Awakening.
And they say I don't listen.
It was awakening, like one word.
So it awakens many things. Not,
I think
not only awakening one thing.
Semantics.
Well, I wouldn't want to bring back the wrong rune.
I think it's just one thing, but they use the one word for less words. I don't like it. Can you tell us
Human
about this
languages
thing?
are so inelegant.
I'm
Correct.
afraid I can't. I haven't heard of such a rune.
I wonder if perhaps someone in our party might have heard some lore about that rune.
Well,
I'm good with lore.
but perhaps I can help, however. I have collected a great many books and tomes and parchment scrolls on these runes, and they are upstairs in my library, and luckily the kobolds didn't make it that far. I don't think books particularly interested them. He actually gestures. Would you want to look for the runes now, or do you need a moment? Something to eat, perhaps?
Well, I could chill a little, but I don't mind. What do you two want to do? It's nice and
Best to
cold.
forge forward with our quest.
Alright. It's fine.
All right, come on then. Come on. He leads you back up the stairs to the 3rd floor, which appears to be mostly a laboratory. And actually, somebody can go ahead and make a lore check as they walk by.
Somebody.
I can do that thing.
This is going to be hard. And I'm gonna actually no. It'll be hard, but you're also gonna get a setback die because you are not an arcane spellcaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just it. That's just what I got. No.
You could story point it if you wanted. Like a pretty good story point.
Yeah, okay, and that upgrades one. So it gives me another one. Oh. Nope. Did not. I failed twice and got 2 advantage.
All right. So you glance over at a book sitting next to a series of beakers and a small alchemist crucible on a bench. And although you cannot read it, failure, you do see an anatomical sketch of a kobold on one of the pages.
Were you having some fun with the kobolds? Maybe making some or experimenting? Perhaps?
His face grows red and his beard bristles. He walks over to the table and slams the book shut.
There are less volatile ways of getting assistance.
For your information, I was trying to... I was trying to... Yeah, mind your own business.
Okay, I guess.
Oh,
Wow.
He looks
Offensive.
he does look defensive and a little and embarrassed.
I'll step up to try to calm him a bit, and I'll say,
Please do.
No. I'm sure Akash meant nothing by it.
I didn't.
Go ahead and give me a charm check. It'll be versus his cool in this case, which will actually be this.
Oh.
But I'm also going to give you a boost die because you know him, and a boost die because this is as much his problem to deal with as anything else.
Can I give a boost die because I helped him with his chair?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like
Woo.
this. Honestly, I don't feel bad about passing this. What I feel bad about is those 2 red dice sitting in there. Oh, okay, we're fine. We're fine.
You are.
There's no despair.
Yep, 3 successes. All right, so he calms down and looks a little just sheepish now. Yes, I was trying to make them the obedient servants they were originally designed to be. But I probably should have removed their ability to reproduce before conducting any experiments. That was my mistake.
I'll pat him on the shoulder and I'll say, well, they might once have been created beings, but they're out in the wild now. Might as well leave them to their own devices, except when they need to be occasionally
Cold.
escorted off the premises.
Farm
Yes.
boys will always need something to beat up, prove their manliness or something.
Such servitude is in bad taste.
Well, normally I would agree, but kobolds. He calms down and leads you back up to the next story, and in this the top floor of the tower, there is a small, relatively but decently filled library that does take up the entire floor. A large number of books, and he immediately starts bustling around. And there is a desk and a chair up there, so there's somewhere to sit down and read. And he starts pulling books off shelves and setting them on the desk, saying, "Perhaps this one would have what you seek," or here's some dwarven work. They know quite a bit about runes. This book was written by one of the Latari. You may find this interesting.
Sure.
I believe
Page through it.
the second half discusses some rune-bound shards a little bit, or elf magic. It's hard to tell. My grasp of your language is rusty. And he keeps pulling them out. So now I would like you to make a lore check.
I'll try.
This will be average.
Oh, it's more doable.
But you'll get a boost for his help. Does anyone else have lore? Or does anyone else want to assist?
If I can assist by reading the second half of the book.
Take
I
another
don't know
boost.
anything about lore, but
So I will try to assist, but Jørgensen is going to be asleep with a book on his face within 5 minutes, so you're not getting any dice from me.
All right.
It's okay.
I hear a rumbling. I think there may be a kobold still in here.
The learned way is not for everyone.
You know what? Before you roll that, I think you need one of the story points back. Go ahead and upgrade the difficulty.
No. Okay, well, my flaw is I'm kind of not familiar with your people's culture, or any people's culture, really. Haha, that's a despair. That doesn't feel good.
Success overall, though.
Yes.
And one advantage.
Success with despair is the most deadly kind of success.
All right.
Deadly kind of
Two
despair.
advantage. That was a fail.
Oh, that's a failure. Yeah, I can't.
So
I don't
2
know.
successes, because the despair is also a failure. And 2 advantage and a despair. All right.
Everything went so well, except for the thing that didn't.
So, after several hours, by the time when Jørgensen is just completely out of it, and even after a little while, your work does help, but mostly in eliminating the elves as a good avenue of research. And at some point, you withdraw into the corner with a traveler's monologue on visiting the Latari, and mostly start making snide comments about their observations of your culture.
I'm gonna grab a quill and start like writing annotations in the margins.
But finally, you're going through a dwarf book, a dwarven book. It is. It is bound in copper, actually, as is their wont, and the paper is thick. It is parchment, but tougher than any parchment you've seen. And as you read it, you find references to the Rune of Awakening in a chapter about notable dwarves who have crafted runes. They're runesmiths and rune crafters. Particularly one is one Kola Stonebrow. She lived several centuries ago in Hadrinhold, which is a dwarf community, and it says that she created many runes and rediscovered many dragon runes, and one of them was the Rune of Awakening. And some of these runes have passed on into legend or been lost in the centuries since. But when she died, her work was considered so impressive that she was buried with a copy of every rune she'd ever made, engraved in steel. That it was forged by the dwarves, so that it would never and enchanted so it would never rust. So basically, her life's work was entombed with her in a cairn built in her honor in the mountains.
But those aren't the real runes, right? They're just like a steel replica, basically.
Well, that would be enough.
I see. Okay.
You need the rune. But once you have the rune, you will see how it is made, and you can apply it to the rune golems and so forth.
Okay.
We're going to a graveyard.
So,
Grave robbing?
I love visiting the short people
grave
graveyards.
visiting, and then maybe talking to the dead, and then maybe a little.
here's the despair. As you flip to the next chapter, you're excited. It discusses how, in the centuries since, the location of the cairn of Kola Stonebrow has been lost.
Oh, that's not good. Can I use my advantage to get a hint?
The hint is, if anyone's going to know where to find the grave, it will be the dwarves of Hadrinhold, since that was where she was from, and presumably the cairn was built nearby. Hadrinhold is deep in the Dunmore Mountains, however.
How far away is
That's
that?
north of us.
North. Perhaps as much as 2 weeks travel.
Oh, I guess I need more sand.
It's not such a bad time of year for the trek. Why, I did it in winter one year, with only one snowshoe.
Uphill?
I had a rabbit on the other foot.
Well, maybe it'll
was
be
on
good
only uphill one
exercise
way.
for the scorpions.
Could have been worse.
All right. So, you stay the night and then set out.
How does healing work?
So, healing, a good night's rest, and I would say you've certainly ingratiated yourself enough with Corinth that he lets you stay in the tower. You do have to help him clean out the kobolds.
It's fine, I'm good at throwing things at windows.
But once you've done so, he cooks a meal for all of you from his stores, and lets you sleep in the storeroom, which is warm and comfortable once you've laid out your bedrolls. So you get a good night's sleep, and
How is the meal?
the meal's actually very good.
What kind of meat is this?
Rabbit, mostly. I put out snares.
It's very good, thank you.
It is.
You're
Clearly,
with gusto.
yeah. This guy's been living in this tower alone for a long time. He's perfected certain skills to keep himself occupied when he's not doing his research, and one of those apparently is cooking. So, you spend the night. You will all recover all of your strain,
All right.
and the next morning you set off. And you will travel for several days, heading north. I assume Hathold is your destination.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I fill up my flasks.
What an excellent night's sleep. I love sleeping.
You're a very chipper person.
Well, I had a good night's sleep.
All right.
Let's play the silent game.
So you head off towards the mountains. You travel for several days, and the travel is uneventful. However, the air is getting colder, and the path leads slowly but certainly up more hills than it goes down. Eventually, you find yourself in the outskirts of the Dunmore Mountains themselves. At this point, the paths become narrow, and the slopes are covered in broken shale and twisted pine trees and tufts of hardy grass. You often will traverse the ridges to stay up out of the narrow, almost ravine-like valleys that are often carved out by swift-flowing torrents of melted snow. And after some time, it's a beautiful day in the Dunmore after you've risen and started your next leg of your journey. The sun's shining, and you are walking up one of these ravines. The path is actually running alongside the stream this time, and you're keeping an eye on either side of the mountains, and you look up and you see figures on the ridge above you.
I would like to make a knowledge geography test to have a sense of who those figures might be based on the region. Or I could do adventuring if that would be better.
You could do that. You could also do perception to just see if you can make out any details.
I could certainly do some perception, but is anyone here more cunning than I?
I am very cunning. I could help you.
Excellent.
I'll tell you what,
Take a look.
how many ranks do you have in geography or adventuring?
1 and 1, but also 1 in perception.
All right, go ahead and take a boost die for your knowledge, but make it a perception check. So the boost represents that you know who should be around here, but it's still a still a fairly large number.
And it
of
just gives you one boost for me helping because I have 4 cunning.
No. So I'm going to borrow your cunning.
Oh, okay.
So the cool
Neat.
part about this is we get to combine our numbers essentially. So
cool.
we get to say like, all right, so I have 3, or I have 2 cunning. You have 4 cunning. So we're gonna take your bigger number. So that gives us 4 dice. You have no ranks, but I have 1 rank. So that does that, and then we get that boost for the knowledge. What's our difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be average.
Alrighty, there we go.
So many dice.
And yet
That looks like just a couple advantage.
we do not pass it.
All right, so you fail. You cannot tell who they are. With 3 advantage. 3 advantage, however, you spot. Looks like one of them is leading a mule,
Okay.
and a heavily laden mule.
Do they appear to be? Are they making any hostile actions or have drawn weapons or anything like that?
One of them is holding a crossbow, but is not pointing it at you. And they don't see, but they are cloaked, and you can't really make out anything else. The crossbow is perched in the crook of their arm, so you can actually see the outline of it.
Are they aware of us?
Oh yeah,
obviously.
they're staring down on you.
Bandits. Oh,
No, go ahead.
bandits rarely travel with mules.
Hello, fellow travelers.
I can't understand you. Hello, fellow traveler.
Do you both shout that in the common tongue?
You know what? Yes. And also, you're gonna get scorpions next time you go to sleep if you don't stop that. Hello.
They regard you for a long moment, and then from above. Hello yourselves. What are you doing in the Dunwar?
Yeah, we're looking for Hadronhold. We got some people to talk to there.
Hadronhold. You're a long way from Hadronhold yet.
Yeah.
But we asked who you are.
I am Akash of Taruk Saran. I come from across the sea.
And your companions.
I'm Jurnsind of Northgate, member of the Outland Scouts, though currently in, shall we call it a short period of leave from my normal duties.
And I'm Nim of the Latari.
If you are wary, I can show you our goodwill. I am skilled in the art of healing.
That doesn't involve scorpions, does it?
No!
The scorpions hold the wound shut.
No!
Very well. Keep your hands where we can see them. We'll come down to you.
Okay, well, in order to heal you, I need my flask.
Just
Okay, well.
more figures have started to gather on the ridge.
Oh, that's a lot of people.
And the two that were shouting sling their crossbows over their back. Or the one that's shouting and then one other sling their crossbows over their back and start clambering down. As they get closer, you can in fact tell that they are dwarves. They are shorter than any of you. The one shouting is a male dwarf, huge beard, more impressive even than much more impressive than Corinth's beard, and wearing a green hood and cloak, and has an eye patch. The other dwarf, female dwarf, she doesn't have a beard, but her blonde hair has been intricately braided, and then looks like wrapped around her waist as a belt. And she also wears a green cloak, has the crossbow, and you see they both have short sort of stabbing knives, similar to a gladius. They come down.
What do you call yourself?
I am Torger, and this is Freya. We work for Mergana Flinteye. She is one of the most powerful members of the Merchants Guild out of Harrenhold.
Well, hello, Torgr and Freya. You are the first dwarves I've ever met in person, and it is a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well, Southern, foreigner. Doesn't know you're a Southerner, wouldn't recognize that, so. Pleasure to meet you as well, foreigner. And, elf, and Northman. The three of you are alone?
We are.
Then, alright, then come with us, meet our boss. We didn't want to... It is good to be careful.
One must
traveling
always
in the mountains.
One must always be careful in the outlands.
Yes.
Yes. You
Leads
never
you.
know when you're going to find something in the sand.
He leads you back up. The two of them lead you back up the hill. On a path that you certainly did not see before, but makes climbing up there very quick, actually. And when you get to the top of the ridge, you find there's another trail up here, one that's a little wider, actually. And on it are upwards on 20 dwarves, and an equal number of pack mules. One of the dwarves comes forward, and she is a large, impressive dwarven woman wearing a big fur coat. Older, white hair. Face has just been weathered by exposure to the sun, which not as common for dwarves. They tend to spend most of their time underground. She is covered in jewelry and ornamentation, huge gold earrings, a belt of gold discs, and she has a clay pipe in her mouth that she is constantly chewing on and puffing at. She stomps up to you and looks at the three of you. Hello, I am Morgana Flinteye, and you are. You can introduce yourselves. You don't have.
Yeah.
Well, we don't see many of your kind this deep in the Dunwar. You said you were headed. Torgar says you were headed to Harrenhold.
Indeed.
What's your business there?
We are seekers of knowledge.
This is true.
True, but also vague. As
We have to cut to the point. We have no assurances at this point that we can trust you with our business, which is, I must admit, rather delicate in its nature.
I mean, she's like the head of the Merchant Guild. She's like a woman of standing.
Yes, everyone who is in charge of anything must be very trustworthy and important.
Okay.
well, it's fair enough to state that, but I'm not the head of the Merchant Guild, but
Oh.
I have some authority.
Oh, I see. Okay, so less trustworthy then.
Perhaps we could do something for you then, in exchange for an introduction.
First, you may not trust me, but I assure you that I trust you equally. You are strangers in the land of the Dunwar, and
Is this illegal? Like, she's asking honestly. She has no idea.
not illegal, but I would not be doing my duty as a member of the guild without finding your business. So I ask again, why are you headed to Harrenhold?
I'll look at the pair of them, and unless one of you two cuts me off, I'm just gonna.
Well, I'm looking for more. Okay, so they're my friends, and I'm looking for more information about rune-bound shards. I am a seeker of knowledge, and I may or may not be in possession of such a thing. And we've heard that there is a history in your town of
Cola
of
Stonebrow.
Kola Stonebrow and other great rune masters. And so we are in search of information.
Her eyebrow raises, and as she hears she is the name Kola Stonebrow, you all see a flicker of recognition pass across her face. And yes, I can understand why you would come to the dwarves for information on runes. Long have we kept the secrets of the dragon runes, and Kola Stonebrow was a mighty smith and master of lore.
Records would indicate that, yes.
What do you want to find out about her work? So, at this point, we're going to step away from the conversation for just a minute because she is obviously a bit distrustful of you, and a little more so now that you're asking about the secrets of her people.
Yeah. Well,
But that's fine. That's fine.
I'm ignorant, so.
No. It's simply up to the three of you to convince her that your intentions are not
What they are, which is to break into the tomb of her, people and steal the.
So are we having like a meta conversation about it then?
Yeah, this is a. I'm going to require you to try and persuade her, and we'll use the social rules for that. So, I want you to think about what approaches you feel could be advantageous to convince her. In turn, she is probably going to try and deflect or send you on your way. But we'll see how this goes. So
do you guys have any ideas?
Well, she's a merchant, and that means that ultimately, probably, any information we would want is for sale. There's just a price for it, right?
I mean, we don't even want information necessarily. We just want her to let us through.
That's true. That's true. But we're here. We have the chance to,
she may know more about Kola Stonebrow. She certainly recognized the name and
Sure.
I could talk about.
She got cagey enough about it that she probably has a pretty good idea of. She probably knows a lot about her.
Sure. We don't. The Baroness didn't give us any kind of real reason for why we're getting this. We can't claim some moral reason or anything we need to save the people with this. Or,
I mean she wants to use it. She wants to use it or copies of it to create the most powerful
that's
rune
right.
golems the world has ever
that
seen.
sounds like a super evil reason.
I am questioning this job now.
I mean, the Baroness doesn't have a history of fighting with her neighbors, especially the dwarves. In fact, they're trading partners for the most part. So,
but she didn't have the most powerful rune golems ever before.
We could try to talk about how maybe my people want to trade with them and they're interested in rune lore. Because I'm a practitioner of magic and alchemy, so I don't know. And my character personally is very interested in runes, so we could go that route if we wanted to do a merchant type speaking to her.
That's a good thought. My route was going to be much more mercenary, which is just going to say that we want to break into this tomb to get one rune, but we could get two instead just as easily. If there's something she wants, Outlanders broke in and took it, oh no.
Oof.
That makes me super. How many people are here?
Yeah, we have to do that in private. If we're gonna do
definitely.
How many people are around us?
That. It's 20, right?
So as you're talking, not everyone's just gathered around you, and it looks like they're taking the opportunity to break for lunch. So the dwarves are setting up, bringing the mules in, checking their hooves, starting to make some food. A few dwarves are hanging around, mostly Torgan and Freya, because you're still not 100% trusted. So
Clarifying question.
yes.
if we were to do something that made someone really mad, how many dwarves would we have to fight?
I mean, if you got them to the point where they were fighting, you'd be fighting something like 20 dwarves.
Okay, let's not do
That's
that.
bad.
No, we're not going to fight any dwarves until after we break into it.
Presumably only half of them are really combatants. I mean, so it's not like every one of them is a warrior.
Warrior, yeah.
But I don't know. How lucky do you feel? It certainly isn't fighting 20 kobolds.
So I have no doubts about my ability to kill all of them.
I know.
Were it to come to that, but
I'd like to make some sort of roll to get a measure of her character.
Sure. Well, let's start this out then with get a measure of her character. I'd say perception,
Okay.
Can I assist?
unless you had a different skill in mind that you wanted.
No, perception is fine.
All right. And I will just I will say this will be easy, but with a setback die, because
Am I permitted to assist?
you'll be making your own check.
Oh, okay.
The best reason for you not to assist is that I still haven't decided if I'm bringing you in on this plan to
Gotcha,
steal
gotcha.
stuff, to implicate her in stealing stuff, because I don't know how much dishonorable nonsense you're willing to tolerate,
That's a good question.
and I don't want to be eaten by scorpions. All right. I do fail, but I have one advantage, so I'd like to add a boost die to somebody else's check, as I generally make a distraction of myself.
Sounds good. So you start talking about your, let's say you start talking about your last time you were up here when you were undergoing the trials.
Yeah.
And
Couldn't believe that deer made it through the entire mountain range with an arrow in its side.
Torgan starts to engage you because he appears to be something of a ranger himself. So the two of you start to talk. Unfortunately, it sort of pulls you out of the conversation a bit, which is why you don't really succeed. Yeah, you get a boost die. I'll say you can add a boost die as long as the check is, as long as the social check is something relatively friendly towards them. Because you're playing up like, hey, we're not so different.
I want to try and find out what her goal is. Like, where are they going on this caravan right now? What are you all up to?
What's your approach? Are you trying to be more friendly, or are you trying to be more?
Definitely more on the friendly side rather than like confrontational, right?
Okay. So that'll be charm.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get your sword covered in dwarf blood.
Have you seen how hard that stuff is to get out?
So.
Okay. It's a charm and a boost from.
Yeah. So this is opposed, but actually this is her. She doesn't have any ranks in cool, so it's actually not too bad. Do you want to spend a story point on this?
Yeah. Why not?
Seems like a good story.
Why not? All right, that looks like success. One success, one advantage.
All right. So you will inflict some strain on her for your success, which is getting her closer to potentially revealing something. Your advantage is, so you were trying to
ascertain the purpose of her caravan and what are they up to here in the mountains.
So you also do figure out that this is obviously a trading caravan. Looks like it's headed from Hardenhold down probably to Frostgate. And the other advantage I'm going to say is things look a little threadbare. Like some of the tack and gear looks a little worn. Some of the dwarves are carrying equipment that's a little worn, rough, well patched, that sort of thing. It's not. She does not appear to be like this caravan isn't overflowing with wealth.
Sure.
And what would you like to do?
I want to address her question as to what we're doing and sort of ingratiate myself in that, like, I'm trying to convince her that I at least am legitimately interested in learning from the dwarven people. So I want to ask about if they have like a library or like who would be a good person to talk to in town just to like learn more about their culture and their like use of magic and runes and stuff. And I'm being friendly. So.
Okay. Do you want to use charm, or do you want to use? I'd say in this case knowledge, but knowledge might be more difficult.
I think I would still prefer knowledge because I'm not good at charming people.
All right. Go ahead and give me a knowledge check. However, the difficulty is going to be hard from her willpower, and I'm going to upgrade it once. She doesn't have any ranks in discipline. She just has a high willpower, but it's basically against her discipline for engaging her and keeping her interested.
I don't know how to make this better.
I'll give you a boost for your sincerity.
Okay. This is my desire thing. I don't know how those the motivations come into play, but
Is seeking knowledge?
seeking knowledge is my desire.
Go ahead and take 2 boost.
Okay.
Yeah, you got this. It'll be fine.
Nope.
No.
Don't
It was not fine.
got this. And nope. Okay, well I got 2 fails and a threat.
Okay. So you haven't made. Let's see. Yeah, you two didn't make social checks, so you don't suffer the 2 strain for failing, but you are going to suffer 1 strain for the threat.
Gee.
So you talk. She doesn't look particularly interested as you talk at her, and finally she. Yes. She looks at you very seriously and
Do I have
says,
something on my face?
says, I think it would be better perhaps if you just came clean and explained exactly what your interest in Call of Stonebrow is. She's going to make a leadership check against your... I'm going to have to double check that.
Discipline?
I think it's discipline. Pretty sure it's discipline.
Good, I have some of that.
Sometimes I have to double check that. Yes, discipline. All right. So she is basically giving you a command. What's your discipline?
So you're gonna get a red die and a purple die.
All right. This is her check. I'm going to upgrade it.
What is she trying to do?
She's
yelling
trying-
at me?
She's not yelling. She's being very forceful and just saying, I think it is better that you explain exactly what your interest in Call of Stonebrow is and tell me what I want to know. So she can do the same thing to you. If she inflicts enough strain on you, you may be forced to reveal that, or simply back off and be like, I can't. I don't want anything to do with it. You will take 3 strain.
Gah.
But with 2 threat, you do think you know what her flaw might be, because as she's saying that, she keeps fiddling with her some of her golden jewelry, like her belt balls and stuff, and her eyes sometimes glance to the finery elements of your armor.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like there's a bit of greed, a bit of wealth motivation there,
Okay.
which potentially you can play to your advantage.
Sure.
So, but you take 3 strain.
I did.
Yep. And who would like to go next?
I do have an idea,
Probably. Okay.
but if you have something, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it seems like we should go with our plan that we talked about.
Yeah.
I think the opening is there.
All right.
So
I'll sort of say, and that is how I got down the river atop the deer. And I'll turn back to her and I'll say, I believe our interest actually represents an opportunity to both of us. But we should speak of this matter more after the customary, drinks and such have been distributed.
Not this good.
is there such a custom?
I'm hoping she'll pick up what I'm laying down, that we should continue this,
She'll
More clandestinely.
nod. All right. If come this way, and she'll lead you over to lead you to her own fire, and Torgan drifts back a little bit, and she pulls out a she goes to one of the mules, pulls out a small cask, and pours 4 small glasses into 4 small pewter cups, trail rations basically, and passes them around.
This was actually the extent of my plan. I just wanted some dwarf beer.
It is very good and very potent. It's also only slightly less thick than molasses.
Is there a way that I could not partake in the alcohol without being offensive?
You could certainly pretend to sip at it.
Okay, I'm just gonna do that.
I will drink mine.
All
I'm
right.
gonna drink mine, of course.
And then I will say, we're on a quest set forth by a person of significant importance and we seek an ancient treasure, a treasure that if you were willing to assist us in the acquisition of it, we would be willing to share with you. A treasure said to be lost, but we have come to believe, could be found by those who know a great deal of Cola Stonebrow.
All right. Negotiation and charm.
Let's do negotiation.
All right.
Can I add or boost to that by making some comment to the effect like it certainly would not hurt to restore your caravan to some of its former glory.
Ooh. All right. So you'll get because you know her flaw. You'll get a boost die for that. You get another boost die for your comment.
Mm-hmm.
You will also get a setback die for your comment
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
because of Dwarven Pride.
Yep.
And then the difficulty is 2 challenge dice. That's her negotiation.
Okay, well that's fair. That's fair. All right. I think that's all I've got.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
seems good.
I think we got there.
Yeah, that's good.
I think we got there with only a little threat, right?
No threat.
No,
in
no
fact.
threat. Oh, yeah, okay.
Just successes.
Yeah, 3 successes.
All right. She is not entirely convinced, but she nods and strokes her chin. You're treading on dangerous ground, Northman, but
But we would be the ones who tread the dangerous ground, and you would be the one who stood to profit without ever treading there.
perhaps we can come to some arrangement if the rewards are good enough. But I will need to know more before I can be convinced.
Well, I don't understand any of the arcane matters, so I'm going to turn that over to these two.
So we probably just spill at this point.
We are looking for a Rune of Awakening for a very wealthy patron. And we stand to make a lot if we are able to retrieve such a thing. And we believe that it will either be in the cairn that Stonebrow is buried in, or there shall be information about where we can find it there.
All right. Go ahead and make. This is probably going to be a negotiation check, I think.
Great. I'm not good at this.
All right, so I'm gonna raise an interesting point here. We've never actually talked about what we're being paid, have we? Are we being paid?
Yeah. I don't know if we know how much we're getting paid.
I was gonna say maybe there's an argument for deception here because you're playing up the riches greater than she can imagine.
All
We
right,
don't know
all
if
right,
there's
all
any
right.
riches really to be
Okay,
had at
I
all.
would much prefer to do that.
Yeah, talk about all the wealth that's in it by all means.
Okay, that gives me more dice to work with.
All right. Same. So this will be versus her vigilance, which is going to be hard with 1 upgrade. Yep. You are talking up riches though, so you're going to get a boost for knowing her flaw. And do you want to make any other sort of promises as you do?
I have an idea that I wouldn't have in character. So
That she can have half the profit.
What?
Okay, so my flaw is I'm very ignorant about just most things in general, and I don't have to worry about money usually. So yep, that's what I say.
Yeah, 2 more
Unless
boost
one
dice.
of you want to say something, that's what's being done.
it's not like
Do anyone want to jump in?
I'm going to say that's her share she's giving away.
All right, 1 boost die.
You can have half of it. It's fine.
All right.
No healing for you.
Don't want
I
healing
did.
scorpions.
Oh, I did it. Holy butts, I did it.
oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. So 1 threat and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes. 6 successes.
Go ahead and take a strain.
Ow.
So she nods. In a metagame sense, she looks like she's willing to compromise, although not just go blindly along with your plan. I think we could come to an arrangement. However, if I give you the, I happen to know where her tomb is.
Okay.
It's something I came across a long time ago when I was journeying in the mountains. However, that information not only will I require payment once you have recovered the artifact you seek, I will also require something right now.
With 6 successes?
I mean, no, you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You got her. You've got her close to giving in, but you could just end it right now if you were like, "Cool, here's some money."
I don't know.
How much money are we talking?
I and she has no concept of how much is a lot of money.
Yeah, the orc is not allowed to discuss money.
So I'm gonna lean over to you, and I'm gonna say, I think I have a few silver. How much do you have in your pockets?
I have silver.
I don't know if that's going to cut it. Maybe we could offer our services?
We have to finish this quest quickly. We don't have time to side quest.
Do you have 100 pieces of silver?
I have 39.
How much?
Not that I'm disclosing that at this point.
That was the one thing I missed was money. How much do we start with?
You start with a D100.
Roll high.
Oh boy.
You as well.
I already have my money.
How much money do you have?
You start with a certain amount plus a D100.
Yeah, if you didn't spend everything on starting gear,
Yeah,
you get the
I
extra.
have my money. I'm just not disclosing it.
Okay.
I've already offered half of my money.
I definitely spent my starting money, so.
Alright, so
Yeah.
you have another 28. 39 plus 28, so
Not 100?
not 100.
No.
I could chip in the difference if you put in money.
Sure. I will throw in 30 silver. 33. For my full share, a third.
I'll pull in 33 as well.
I'll put in 28 and a promise to.
Do you just look at your friends until they throw in the other 5?
Yes.
I'll just put in the
Other
other
6,
5, other
actually.
6.
Yep.
Fine, so that's 30. Fine.
She takes the silver, counts it in front of you,
I'll forward you breakfast tomorrow. What do you want?
and I should say it's not just silver. You pay her in gold and silver. and she counts both coins because you aren't actually carrying around 100 silver coins because that would be very heavy.
Right.
But she counts it all up, tucks it into her pocket of her coat. Very well. However, once you have finished your quest, I expect you will bring 500 pieces of silver to Thelgrim.
Wait, before or after?
After you have gotten your reward.
But I said that I would give you half of what I get.
And half of what you get better be 500, if not more.
She's laying you off for 500 if it's more, so.
Well, I guess I'll try.
It seems like a deal.
Very well.
You're helping with this.
Sure.
Also,
I'm never going to come here again.
I'll summon scorpions on you.
I will offer to help with this, and I'll say, my greed is not for coin. I will assist as well.
Good.
also, do not dishonor or despoil the tomb of our honored ancestor.
Absolutely not. We will not do that. We will not do that.
We will not.
Do that.
Fighting any tomb guardian, to not fight a tomb guardian.
I did not
of some
despoil
kind
that.
Would be dishonorable, correct? So if we are encountered with some sort of guardian, we must fight it to be honorable.
I assume you are as clever as you are brave and good negotiators. I'm sure you'll think of something.
Most assuredly.
And she tells you the story of when she was a young dwarf wandering through. She spent some time in the Rangers Guild and one day came across the cairn of Cola Stonebrow, and she basically has kept that information to herself for a while, knowing that if there was ever a great need, she could potentially call on it. But now her need for some money to pay her caravan is great enough to tell you about it. She tells you that there's a basically how to find it. It's actually much closer than Harrenhold is, so you won't actually have to go all the way to the city. And she also tells you there are two paths. There's the main path, which is this crumbling road up the side of a mountain to the flat top of a mountain where the cairn is. But there's also a secret path going up the back of the mountain that she discovered, which is actually much easier to climb. What's inside the tomb, she is not sure, because she did not want to break into it herself.
All right.
But so you have the location of the tomb.
And this seems like the perfect place to take a quick 5-minute break.
Yes.
So we're just going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in like 5 minutes, and we're going to go see what's in this tomb.
See you later.
See you then.